Welcome to the deep dive.
Hey there.
Our mission, well, it's pretty straightforward. You give us the sources, articles, notes, whatever you've got, and we dive in.
Yep, we pull out the key bits of knowledge, the surprising stuff, the really essential insights. The goal is to get you up to speed fast.
It's basically a shortcut through all that information, finding the core value in the material you send our way.
We're here to guide you through it.
And for this deep dive, you've given us a really fascinating look into the world of Vietnamese artist Tlinh.
Our main source today is a transcript from a YouTube interview. It's called "Yudok Young Teme La Tlinh Gen Z Train EPO5 on the Viet Center channel.
Right, Viet Cetera. They do some great interviews.
They do. And this transcript, it gives us a really direct window into her thoughts on some quite personal topics.
Exactly. So that's our mission today. Unpack the key moments, the maybe surprising revelations, the insights into her personality, her career, her views on love, all straight from the source.
Okay, let's get into it.
Let's unpack this.
Okay, so starting with personality. Where does the source say she is right now?
It says she's feeling very strong, independent.
Right, which sounds good, but it's more complex, yeah.
Totally. She talks about this past phase where she felt too independent, like actively isolating herself.
Oh,
Yeah, feeling she didn't need anyone. She chose it, but then realized, well, it actually led to feeling quite lonely.
That's a really interesting point, choosing independence, but finding isolation instead.
Mm-hmm. And she even kind of links it, maybe jokingly, to being a Leo, that independent streak.
Right, but the bigger realization for her was needing to allow herself to be helped and loved more, finding that balance.
Yeah, exactly. And finding that balance involved a real shift. She mentions this moment where she realized how much energy she was, draining.
Draining how?
By always looking for external validation or feeling she had to go out all the time. And that led her to really embrace being alone at home, finding peace there.
And in that quiet time, she started talking to herself. That's interesting.
Yeah. She describes it like treating her inner self like a child, realizing she needed to be, quote, a better adult to that inner voice.
Sort of like self-parenting.
Exactly. And what's cool is she found that inner voice wasn't harsh or critical.
Oh, okay.
It was usually positive, encouraging, telling her she was doing okay. It helped her move away from negative self-talk.
That's quite powerful. And she connects this whole period of self-discovery to the pandemic, right?
Yeah, she saw that isolation as almost like a cosmic push, a nudge to really face who she was without all the external noise.
Makes sense. She mentioned reading books and feeling like the universe sent her these helpful boosts.
Yeah, like little insights or opportunities showing up just when she needed them for that inner work.
So this introspection led her to read things like introversion and extroversion.
Totally. She doesn't see them as fixed labels, more like different persons you can be, or different focuses inward versus outward.
Interesting. Did she say which she identified with more?
Well, she admitted she used to think of herself as more extroverted, but maybe, partly, because being alone felt uncomfortable back then.
Ah, okay. So the shift was intentional, focusing inward.
Right. And she brings up the term ambivert. Maybe that's the goal. Or where she is now, balancing both. It's about being flexible.
That flexibility seems key. She also calls herself adaptable, like a chameleon.
Yeah. Having many personalities, which she feels helps her understand other people easily without judging them.
But that empathy, that had a downside too, didn't it, in the past?
It did. She used to over-empathize, absorb everyone else's feelings and neglect her own.
Oof, that's relatable for a lot of people, I think.
For sure. And she learned she had to prioritize her own feelings first. Her thinking is, you can only truly understand and care for others if you understand and care for yourself first.
So it's not selfish, it's foundational.
Exactly. So she still have that empathy for others, but now, crucially, she has it for herself too.
Okay, so let's shift from that inner world to her career. Navigating the public eye. That brings different challenges.
Definitely. And the interview mentions a tarot reading she had about her career.
Right, I remember that. Something about investment.
Yeah, a card suggesting investment, execution, and enjoyment would, multiply her efforts. And she says she believes in that.
Interesting mix of spiritual outlook and practical focus.
And speaking of focus, she has this big plan for her music this year, a real shift.
Oh, yeah. What's the shift?
She wants to move away from making music mostly for others, or what she thinks others want,
Okay.
and start making music purely for herself.
Wow, that's a bold move for an artist.
It is. She knows it's uncertain how people will react, but she's committed to doing her best work from that place, prioritizing her own creative voiceover validation.
which, makes dealing with public opinion even more complex. Did she expect the mixed reactions?
Somewhat, yeah. She said her personality is quite distinct, so she figured not everyone would get it.
But the reality was tougher.
Much tougher. She was genuinely surprised by the intensity of the negativity, the anti-fans, as she calls them. She just didn't anticipate how harsh people could be. Reading comments, especially ones aimed at her family, that really hurt.
Yeah, that's incredibly difficult. How does she cope with that? Did she share any strategies?
She did. A few things. One is trying to view the critics with compassion, thinking maybe they need love and light.
That's a generous perspective.
Yeah, and also a practical one.
Right.
Just choosing not to waste energy arguing, disengaging.
Makes sense. Setting boundaries.
Right. She also mentioned stepping back from people she feels are just lashing out because they're living hard lives, protecting her own energy.
So what's her advice then for someone else who suddenly finds themselves under attack online?
It's very direct. Turn off your phone. Do things you genuinely like. Look in the mirror and see what there is to love about yourself.
Grounding yourself in your own value.
Exactly. And if a nasty comment really sticks, analyze why. Ask yourself, is this really true? Does it align with who I know I am? She even shared a quote she tells herself. You are beautiful the way you are, never forget.
Powerful stuff. And that connects to her view on success, right? It's not about rigid plans.
Right. She believes success comes more naturally when you do things with love and dedication.
So planning is involved, like prioritizing.
Yeah, she plans tasks. But the outcome, how it's received, that's kind of up to others. Her trust is in the effort itself. If it comes from a place of love, it'll be rewarded somehow.
Did she give an example of learning from things not going to plan?
She did. A specific performance on Rap Viet Season 2, she put a ton of effort in, but it just didn't quite work out as she'd hoped.
How did she handle that?
Initially, sadness, questioning what went wrong in the execution. But the big takeaway was realizing she'd been too serious.
Too serious.
Yeah, she forgot to play with it, to enjoy the performance itself. So that disappointment taught her how to invest fully, but stay adaptable, stay joyful in the process. She sees real value in learning from those moments. Okay, let's move to the third area you wanted to dig into. Her views on love and relationships. There was another tarot reading mentioned for this too, right?
Yeah, there was. That one showed a card of discovery.
Discovery. So not like, you'll meet someone next Tuesday.
No. More like suggesting that something she's looking for will come if she truly wants it. But no timeline.
And based on what she says, it sounds like that intense desire isn't really there right now.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
She says she's okay being single. Like, yeah, it might be nice sometimes to have someone to lean on, but there's no strong need for a relationship at this moment. She's comfortable on her own.
So if she were looking, what qualities are important?
She's very clear on this.
Yeah.
Understanding and immense patience.
Immense patience. That says a lot, maybe about her own complexity or journey.
I think so. It suggests she knows she's evolving and needs a partner who can navigate that with her, with grace.
And she's pretty self-aware about her own past patterns in relationships, things that weren't so healthy.
Oh, yeah. Especially around insecurity. She talked about not expressing it directly.
How did it come out then?
More indirectly. Sometimes manipulatively. She used a specific term, Nicholas, referring to a past behavior trying to make the other person guess or understand her feelings without her having to say them, using Thautun, manipulation, instead of just being honest.
Where did that insecurity come from, did she say?
A couple of things. Questioning if she could really care for a partner properly, and also feeling neglected sometimes.
And that independent, I don't need you thing probably made it harder to admit needing reassurance.
Exactly. Kind of a catch-22.
Did she mention other attractive qualities, besides patience and understanding?
Yeah, she mentioned liking someone in the arts who was talented, skilled. The Vietnamese word was gai, someone good at what they do.
So valuing craft and capability, maybe like her own dedication.
Seems likely.
Yeah.
And she also reflected on how she used to put pressure on relationships.
Pressure how?
Pressure to constantly improve for herself and her partner. Always pushing towards some perfect, ideal, lacking patience for the actual messy process of change.
Which contrasts with her current view, right, about acceptance.
Big time. Now she sees rightness more in accepting things and people as they are, loving them as they are, not forcing change.
She had that example about perspective, didn't she?
Yeah, like, is someone naive and innocent, or are they tactless?
Yeah.
It just depends on how you choose to look at it. Her approach now is more towards the accepting view.
So pulling it together, her current relationship values seem to be patience, tolerance, that bao dung idea,
Right, that compassionate, tolerant.
and honesty, being real about feelings. She accepts love involves problems, that's what love is, but facing them with awareness. Not like the blind infatuation from high school she mentioned.
And a huge part of that awareness is communication. She calls it a key.
Honest and sincere communication.
Exactly. And she even gave practical advice about when to have the tough talks.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
Not right away, in the heat of the moment. Wait 2 or 3 days
Why wait?
to reflect, to figure out the root cause of the feeling inside herself, which she often connects back to self-love or self-worth issues. Then talk to the partner honestly about what she figured out internally.
So, understand your reaction before reacting to them.
Pretty much. It's about self-awareness first.
And how does she view past relationships now? Any regrets?
Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah.
She sees past partners not as mistakes, but as valuable parts of her journey. There's even a sense of warmth, maybe humor, looking back at those earlier, perhaps more naive times.
Okay, bringing things towards a close. There was one final tarot reading mentioned, right? About her future energy.
Yep, for the upcoming month. And it sounded pretty positive.
What did it suggest?
Great strength, control, being able to handle difficulties. Basically, that her desires and her ability to act on them are aligning. She feels equipped.
Sounds like a good place to be. So this whole deep dive, based on the source you gave us, really walked us through Trillin's journey. Self-discovery, career challenges, evolving views on love.
It covered a lot of ground. And she had a direct message for you, the listener, from that interview, too.
What was it?
Simple but powerful. I love you. Just be yourself. Do what you like.
Nice. Okay, so reflecting on everything we've unpacked about Trillin's path, finding that balance between independence and connection, dealing with public life, seeking acceptance and love, here's something for you to think about. How do you navigate those kinds of tensions in your own life?
Yeah, like the push for external success versus the need for inner peace.
Mm-hmm.
Or wanting connection, but also valuing your independence.
Right. Or the effort you put in versus the results you get. How much of your life feels like a plan you're following, and how much feels like a path you're kind of discovering as you walk it.
It's a great question to ponder. Thanks again for bringing us this source material. We hope unpacking it like this offered some valuable insights for you.
Yeah, take these ideas, mull them over, see how they fit, or just spark more curiosity.
And absolutely, if you have other sources, other topics you want us to explore, send them our way. We really enjoy these deep dives based on what you're interested in.
Until next time, keep digging deeper.